What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Fringe. I can't believe we're here again, but Danielle Smith is under attack yet again for going down to the U.S. to talk tariffs, to try and make sense out of everything that's going on between Canada and the United States, to the tune of meeting with Ben Shapiro. Now, what Danielle chooses to do again is looking for diplomacy. She's trying to reach across social media. She's trying to talk to actual independent influencers and their media, while the Daily Wire is no joke when it comes to those. Keep in mind, Danielle Smith also good friends with Dr. Jordan Peterson, who's affiliated with the Daily Wire. She has now gone down to the United States to chat with Ben Shapiro and to support Ben, but also talk a little bit about what's happening in Canada and Alberta. But she's come under fire. I want to cover this because a lot of people are saying that Danielle doesn't stand up for Alberta. I want to cover an article from the Edmonton Journal here. This is exactly what we wanted. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith defends her Florida trip and doubles down on fighting tariffs. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says that on her conversation with U.S. podcaster Ben Shapiro, he dedicated an entire episode the next day to discuss the detrimental impacts of tariffs on Americans. There's a huge pushback on tariffs against Americans. Speaking on the 880 CHED show, Your Province, Your Premier on Saturday, Smith, who has also been criticized by Alberta NDP for attending the event at PragerU alongside Shapiro in Florida on Thursday, said the outcome of her trip and conversation did exactly what we wanted to accomplish. Yesterday, he devoted his entire podcast talking about how terrible tariffs were for American businesses, America and North America, Smith said. So this is what I've been saying Pierre should do. Pierre needs to get onto like Joe Rogan. He needs to appeal to that youth vote, the youth audience. Danielle, of course, getting on Ben's show to talk about the tariffs, to talk about how damning they are, how detrimental they are, not only against Canadians, but Americans, to educate. I don't think she did anything wrong here. It's quoted here, I think this is going to be the way we move the dial, the way we convince Americans one by one and the influencers around the president that tariffs are bad for both economies and we need to take a different approach. The NDP have criticized Smith with moving forward with the trip despite controversy surrounding Shapiro. Smith, in response, said on the issue of tariffs, Shapiro and herself are in agreement, but said she did not 100% agree with everything he said. So again, she thinks that they're on the same border for tariffs. I don't see a problem here. On Friday, Premiers and Liberal leader Mark Carney met virtually to discuss how the country will move forward to tackle the looming threat of tariffs, which are set to come into effect on April 2nd. Prior to the meeting, Carney said U.S. President Donald Trump had a phone call to discuss tariffs, which Carney described as constructive. Again, Carney can't do anything about those. He can't promise anything. We're in the middle of an election. Smith says from what she heard, both parties would do a comprehensive renegotiation of the Canada-U.S. Free Trade Agreement as soon as the election is over, which I think is the more probable outcome. I think that was successful to be able to get the U.S. president to recognize that we've got to deal with all of these irritants, Smith said. When it comes to Team Canada approach, Smith said no matter the political strife, all her fellow premiers have been very constructive when it came to the discussion on tariffs, pointing out a signed agreement last week between the premiers promising to work on economic corridors. I'm delightful to see that at the subnational level, we have unity on that, and let's build on that because I think that's the way in which we're going to be able to make this country really work again, said Danielle Smith. Again, she's looking for solutions. I'm feeling very encouraged by what I see on the provincial level. Smith said that the one issue she's disagreed with is placing an export tax on restrictions on oil and gas, saying she's standing up for Albertans and, in doing so, will prevent massive escalations in the trade war. Standing up for Albertans and their jobs is her job. She has to make sure those who gave her her mandate are covered. She isn't doing anything wrong. According to Smith, Alberta sends $150 million worth of products to the U.S., and if the federal government imposes a 25% tariff on oil and gas, the money will go straight to Ottawa, not Alberta. Under no circumstances am I going to agree for them to slap an export tariff where the money goes all to Ottawa to be spent by Ottawa politicians. I don't know how I could be more clear on that. That being said, I've been supportive of reasonable countermeasures, Danielle Smith said. So she's pushing back. She's been pushing back against Ottawa this entire time. A lot of people, again, the NDP party criticizing Danielle about everything she's doing. What I want to know is she's talking about tax dollars that are funneled into politicians for spending and how she doesn't want it. What I want to know is why are the NDP and how much are they spending on their silly little viral ads? If you want to see a real nut job in the NDP in Alberta, here's Napoleon Dynamite. I mean, Janice Irwin. This is how the Canadian government fights for Canada. Literally, this is a member of the Legislative Assembly of Alberta. Help us, Canada's broken. Now, I'm not going to play any audio because it's copyright. But look at this cringeworthy training for the cat Olympics. Like, what are we? This is supposed to get people excited about politics? This lady's a nut job. She's an absolute nut job. Why is it that all those on the left are completely irrational, crazy? They think they're funny when they're cringeworthy. I don't understand any of this. Any of this. The lunacy doesn't end here. This is just a personal video, keep in mind. When we talk about tax dollars, take a look at this. Doesn't her face just look great in this? NDP MLA Janice Irwin calling Ben Shapiro a fascist is the epitome of radicalized behavior. Shout out to Jack Dan, good friend of the channel. When it's fifth winter Alberta, you're once again questioning all your life choices and lots of things are awful. Now, again, she's got music in this video, probably because she doesn't want it getting shared. Janice often turns off the comments on her posts. But it says, but at least you're on Team Canada and not Alberta's premier who's in Florida hanging out with fascists while she dances in the snow. Is it, like, again, where do these guys think that this is a good use of taxpayer dollars? Many people are going to say, well, she's recording it herself. She doesn't pay for that. I'm going to agree to disagree. Take a look at this video posted out by Cat Canada. Can someone please tell the Elbows Up Team Canada crowd that's not the official flag of Canada? Janice Irwin seems confused. I mean, here we go again. She's out filming in the streets, dancing around with a crew. How much is this costing Canadian taxpayers? Even Albertans. I should say Albertans. While she dances in alleyways like a lunatic with her poison flags to brainwash children. Does anybody see any rationality? Does this have anything to do with politics? This is your choice in the next election, Alberta. You vote for Danielle Smith, or you vote for this nut job and her party and Naheed Nenshit. I don't know what anybody thinks they're doing if they're voting NDP in the next election. As far as I'm concerned, if you vote NDP in the next Alberta election, you're either a union member or you work in healthcare, the education sector, which again, I know they're covered by unions, but it's disgusting. This is where we're at in Alberta. A lot of people want to damn Danielle Smith, but these are the alternatives. Give me a break. It's not happening. Danielle Smith has been doing everything to work for diplomacy, everything to push this province forward. I think more provinces could benefit from somebody similar to Danielle Smith. In fact, most people in my comments are often saying they wish she would run for prime minister. Bad news, ladies and gentlemen, we don't want to share her with the rest of you. We just want her to stay in Alberta. That being said, let me know what you think down below in the comments. Do you think Danielle's going to face backlash in the next provincial election due to her support of Americans trying to educate and find diplomacy during this lunacy? Or do you think she's going to face the brunt of not joining Team Canada in the next election and we'll end up with dancing losers like Napoleon Dynamite here? Let me know what you think down below in the comments. If it's your first time here, I hope this video's earned your subscription. Make sure you're hitting that button. You click your bell for notifications. Join me live here on the channel each and every Friday night for Friday Night Fringe, our live streaming show where we talk about everything that's happened this week in politics, everything we know that's coming up in the week ahead, as well as back and forth within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.